Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is FAREENA IZATTY binti Muhammad FAUZI. Today me and my group mate will present about political archive. The political archive that we choose are Abdul Aziz Bin Ishak. He's well known as a Malaysian independent fighter and a brave journalist. Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ATIQAH. I'm going to explain about chapter 1, biography. Abdul Aziz Ishak, or better known as Tok Jack, is the most controversial of the modern Malaya leaders. He is journalist for Utusan Melayu, politician and colonial civil servant, and a Malayan brand of the modern nationalist intellectual. He remains an enigma unlike his brother Yusuf, who was well known both as a journalist and the founder of Utusan Melayu, and as the first president of Singapore after the separation with Malaysia in 1965. Between 1965 till 1966, he was an internal security ISA prisoner during the Indonesia confrontation. Aziz is the only member of the Periwar Kesatuan Melayu Muda to have served in the 1955 and post-Merdeka cabinet under Tunku Abdul Rahman. Between 1955 and 1963, he was the nation's first agriculture minister. He was an important figure in the struggle for Malay economic development in the agriculture sector. He resigned from the cabinet due to irreconcilable difference with the Tunku and the other cabinet coalition. Next is background history. The figure who wants to be told in this article is the heir of the descendant of Datuk Jannatul, who is a Minangkabau nobleman who migrated to Penang during the reign of Sultan Muhammad Jiwa. Aziz was born on September in Padang Gajah, Trong Perak. He comes from good family and well educated. He is son of Ishak Ahmad and Aishatun Haji Aminuddin. His father was born on March in Trong Perak and was the first Asian to be appointed as acting director of the Department of Fishery of the Strait Settlement and the Federate Malay. Her mother, Aishatun, was born in Taiping, Perak. Aziz Ishak had 7 siblings, 3 brothers and 4 sisters. The following are list of Abdul Aziz siblings: Tun Yusuf Ishak, Abdul Ramli Jannatul, Abdul Rahim Ishak, Lili Zubaida Ishak, Salbia, Laila Halifa, Zohara, Aziz, Wan Samsia were married and they had 7 children. He is father of Rahman, Zakaria, Zubaida, Zahara, and Umi Salma. Next, he denied attend the Malay College Kuala Kangsar because he is not come from rich background. Then Aziz followed his father to Singapore in 1923. Aziz attended Victoria Bridge School and continued his study at Raffles. At Raffles Institution, he and his friend named Hamid Jumat, Tun Sardun Jubir and Ahmad Ibrahim wrote articles about the fate of Malay during that time in the Warta Malaya newspaper. And he died in June 23, 1999 at 7 p.m. in Taman Tun Abdul Razak, Ampang, Kuala Lumpur. This is timeline. Abdul Aziz Ishak. Next, his early life. In 1955, Aziz Ishak used to work as a fishery officer, and when he was 22 years old, he was hired to work in Kuala Kurau, Perak. During Japanese colonial, he worked as head of fishery at the Municipal Council Singapore. After Japan surrendered, his brother Yusuf Ishak had invited him to develop Utusan Melayu. He then has resigned as fishery officer. In 1946, Aziz Ishak, Taharuddin and Samad Ismail have established the Gerakan Angkatan Melayu Muda (GERAM) in Singapore, which tend to be pro Pertubuhan Kebangsaan Melayu Malaya. After participating in various political organizations from Riyadh, like Kesatuan Melayu Muda, Geram, UMNO and the Independent Malaya Party. Finally, in 1953, Aziz Ishak was appointed as Minister of Agriculture, Fishery and Cooperative under the Tunku Abdul Rahman Cabinet. He also has been assigned as a Ministry of Education and has been transferred to the Ministry of Health. However, he rejected the position. In 1963, Tunku Abdul Rahman had terminated his position as UMNO member. His position as minister, which has been held for 7 years, also been terminated immediately. Thus, consequences of the terminate, he does not hold any position. Next.
Okay, my name is NADZIRAH Solehah. So I'm going to explain about early education and qualification. Okay, next. Okay, first, he used to school at Sekolah Melayu Jeram, Kuala Selangor, Darul Ihsan, and then he moved to Sekolah Melayu Kuala Kurau at Perak. But due to his base-born status, he was readmitted to the Malay College Kuala Kangsar because Aziz is of Minangkabau descent from his father's side, while his mother is a native of Langkat Regency in Indonesia. He was denied to enter Malay College Kuala Kangsar because of his non-aristocratic background. Okay, known as a picturesque school, which is a school that a secondary school at Siglap Link in Bedok, Singapore, that was established in 1876. It was Singapore's second oldest state secondary school. And then he moved to Raffles Institution in Singapore. Raffles Institution was founded in 1823. It is the oldest school in Singapore. It is an independent institution that provides secondary education for boys aged 13 to 16. His time at Raffles was an important learning experience. He meets very well with students of various ethnic backgrounds, and he was the school captain for 2 years, perhaps the only Malay to have held this distinction. He created a Malay literature group at Raffles with colleges like Hamid Jumaat, Tun Sa'dun Jubair and Ahmad Ibrahim. They also published an article on Malay community and their predicament to Singapore major Malay journal. It was accomplished by his brother Yusuf, who had already been employed as a journalist. He used to be at Marine Fisheries Research Department as study course and employed at Fisheries Department after graduating from Senior Cambridge. Next. He has a degree in Strategic and Security Studies at National University of Malaysia, and he also attended a journalism fellowship program in Security Studies co-organized by the University of New York and its West Center in Hawaii.
Okay, now I will present about his political involvement and career. Abdul Aziz Bin Ishak was in politics in a variety of ways. He joined this party and then he moved to another party. In this topic, there's a few of phases of his political involvement. Okay, firstly is before 1942, he was a member of KMM, which is Kesatuan Melayu Muda. In 1950, he joined UMNO party and he returned to this party again in 1953. And one of his achievements in politics was he was successfully appointed as the head of Selangor UMNO and the head of Selangor Alliance in 1955. Okay, next we move to his career. Okay, Abdul Aziz Bin Ishak began his career as a fisheries officer at an early age in 1935. He was 22 years old at that time. From 1955 to 1963, he served as a Minister of Agriculture and Cooperative. When he was being a minister, there's a lot of significant effort that he makes, such as a rural development to better life of paddy farmers and officials. Next is about his career as a brave journalist. Okay, next. Okay, after he joined the Utusan Melayu, he became famous in Tanah Melayu. According to his journalistic work, in 1951, a representative of Aziz Ishak as Utusan Melayu was sent to London to cover the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. For him, this coronation ceremony is considered coronation in Chinese film for some reason. Due to this incident, Aziz was considered as a right reporter by Gerald Templer. He is the British High Commissioner. Okay, next.
Moving on to chapter 4, we will talk about the work experience of Abdul Aziz bin Ishak. During his career in the cabinet, he had posts as Minister of Agriculture and Cooperative and Minister of Education. His most important posts are Minister of Agriculture and Cooperative. He has been described as the minister who really cares about the people, especially those in rural areas. He has done many programs and collaborations, such as with University of Malaya for a training center in forestry industry, with India for an international rice commission, and with Vietnam for agriculture engineering aspect of rice production. The post of Education Minister was taken over by Abdul Aziz Ishak, as the actual Educational Minister was not in the country, so he had to take over the post for a while. For his other profession, being a journalist, he has published articles and books, such as Special Guest, The Detention in Malaysia of an Ex-Cabinet Minister. In this book, he described in detail the difference with Tunku and the event leading to his resignation, subsequent imprisonment and release. The book was banned and made available only for restricted university libraries. His other book is Katak Keluar dari Bawah Tempurung. It was published in 1955. Aziz Ishak also attained the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. He recorded the proceeding of coronation and published articles about it. He also frequently attended the government meeting, as he was also secretary of Tunku Abdul Rahman. Next. This is photo about the work experience by Abdul Aziz bin Ishak, sorry. Next. Next. Now, we will discuss about the contribution of Aziz Ishak. The first contribution is create awareness. As we know, Abdul Aziz Ishak is a journalist. Even though he always involved in controversial issues due to his outspoken behavior, he also one of the founder of Urusan. He always released articles to make people aware about the situation that they face. Next, in education. During the time he had post as the Minister of Education, he managed to stop the strike of the students of Institute Pengajian Guru who did not accept the principal with English as their nationality. He also substituted the name of Sekolah Umum to Sekolah Kebangsaan. Next, we will talk about his retirement. Abdul Aziz bin Ishak resigned from his position as cabinet minister in 1963. And due to disagreement between Aziz Ishak and Tunku Abdul Rahman, he was dismissed from the UMNO. This was the last event for him as a politician.
I'm going to explain about Chapter 5, which is Cabinet Position and Post-Cabinet. Next. Aziz was named as Minister of Agriculture and Cooperative, which he maintained until 1963. Aziz's relationship with his cabinet colleagues, especially the Tunku and Abdul Razak, who was in charge of rural development, grew difficult in 1955. In fact, Aziz was the only member of the pre-war Kesatuan Melayu Muda (KMM) to serve in Tunku Abdul Rahman's 1955 and post-Merdeka cabinets. Due to fundamental issues with the Tunku and other cabinet members, he resigned from the cabinet. Next. During the Indonesian conflict in 1965 and 1966, he was arrested under the Internal Security Act, which was an equally key element of his political career. He was accused of being a traitor and of winning an election with Indonesian authorities, but he denied. As a result, very little known about Aziz Ishak and his participation in the war for independence through the publication Utusan Melayu, as well as his political position as leader of Selangor UMNO and Selangor Alliance in the mid-1950s when the alliance partners struck political agreements. Next. Post-cabinet. His political activities were diverse, as Aziz was a member of the KMM before 1942 and sympathized with the PKMM after 1945. However, he joined UMNO in 1950 when it was still led by Datuk On Jaafar, even though his goal of full independence for Malaya at the time was unpopular with Baf, On and the Tunku. When On found the independence of Malaya Party in 1951, Aziz became deputy chairman of the IMP's Kuala Lumpur branch and ran for Central Mayor in 1952, but lost to the alliance candidate. Aziz afterwards climbed the ranks of UMNO and the alliance. In 1953, he was appointed to the Alliance Round Table Conference, which urged for a general election in Malaya to be held as soon as possible. Next. In his memoirs, Aziz claimed that the 1955 cabinet was beset with policy difference on various issues, including the replacement of expatriate British officials with Malayans or Melanisation. Aziz was equally passionate on press freedom that he claimed had been eroded after 1955. Okay, next.
Chapter 6, Awards and Recognition. Next. Because his struggle was not seen and appreciated by the public, Abdul Aziz Ishak did not receive any awards and was not recognized by anyone. However, he achieved success because he implemented several groundbreaking ideas, including a paddy and fish marketing project, agricultural modernization, including the use of urea fertilizer, and a twice-yearly rice planting schedule. The use of effective and productive quality seeds, and the development of larger boats and high-quality fishing nets. He also organized cooperatives across the country to limit the activities of intermediaries. Next. In conclusion, a finding assists researchers, especially our group, in learning more about collection and locating resources in collection that will be most useful to our research topic about Abdul Aziz Bin Ishak.
As a result, nothing is known about Abdul Aziz Ishak and his participation in the war for independence. Perhaps a socialist had no place in a cabinet that pursued capitalist policies and was adamant about maintaining the free market economy. He resigned all his positions and returned to being a journalist. Nonetheless, his contribution to the fight for independence cannot be overlooked. That's all from us. Thank you.